And I remember around the time that you wrestled Batista, I had a WWE tryout at the same time as Bobby Roode, and he told me you had gotten him the tryout. Could you tell us about your relationship with Bobby Roode?
Yeah, so Bobby Roode. So I used to work at a bar in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada called the Purple Rooster, and I was a doorman there. Bobby Roode was also a doorman there. Now, when I left, and that's how I knew Bobby, you know, we worked together quite a bit, for quite a while, actually. When I left Canada and started wrestling full-time, you know, I went to England, then it was Arkansas, then it was Puerto Rico, so I was gone for a lot of years. When Shane and I, Shane Sewell, who's my tag partner in Puerto Rico, decided to take a summer off and come back to Canada and get our feet wet in promoting. We had never promoted wrestling shows before, so we decided we were going to try and promote a show up in Bancroft, Ontario, Canada. One of the things we needed was security. So I reached out to Bobby Roode, who I hadn't talked to in a few years at that point. And I said, "Hey, Bobby, are you still working at the bars?" He says, "Yes." I said, "Hey, do you want to get some doormen together and come up and do security at my wrestling show?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can get that done for you." So Bobby kind of became the head security guy for my wrestling show in Bancroft, Ontario, Canada. And we did the wrestling show, and right afterwards, Bobby came up to me and he says, "Hey man, can you teach me how to do this?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to be here for the summer before I got to head back to Puerto Rico, so I'll set the ring up at my dad's house in his backyard, and we'll train you there." And so Bobby came up to my dad's house, and I started training him in the ring there. And he picked it up super fast. Super fast he picked the basics up. I mean, probably one of the fastest guys to pick up the very basics of professional wrestling that I've ever run into. I mean, flat back bumps, I mean, the very first time he did it, boom, and he just did it again and again and again. And it was just, picked it up faster than anybody I've ever seen pick it up. And from there, I went back down to Puerto Rico, and I guess he made his way out to, I believe it was Scott D'Amore's, I could be wrong, but I think it was Scott D'Amore's organization at the time, and he continued training under Scott D'Amore's group. And then at that point in time, Shane had spoken with Carlos Colon down in Puerto Rico, and had got him shot down in Puerto Rico as well. And from there, he just started working and taking off. And he was just one of those guys that he saw wrestling what it was, and he was already somewhat of a gymnast anyway, so, doing athletic things was just natural to him. And he picked it up super fast, and he had a passion for it, still has a passion for the business today. And to see him become a huge star in TNA, and now has moved over into WWE, and keep our fingers crossed that they send him to the moon in WWE. He's definitely got the talent and the skills to make that happen. So, just keeping my eyes open and seeing what the company does with him.